What an interview. What an interview. Thank you so much, Nick Aldis, the current NWA World's Heavyweight, back in the days, the World's Heavyweight Champion. That's how it shows on the belt, World's Heavyweight Champion. So big shout out to Nick Aldis. Thank you so much again. The piece for Sports Illustrated to be up this week. And follow at Crave Wrestling. Follow me at Chris Prolific. I'll have all that stuff, all that information. I have the piece ready for you all to enjoy. We got so much going on today. We got Shawn Michaels being willing to wrestle one more time. Punk 220 UFC 225 predictions. We got Dominion predictions. I got a lot of names for you all, and we're going to talk about this is the flavor of the week at the end of the show. We're going to talk about whether these names should have been WWE champion through at least once in their career. I'm going to give you 10, I don't know, I think it's like 10 names or so, maybe even more, that never won a WWE championship throughout the entire duration of their whole career in the WWE. Never won a WWE championship. So I'm going to give you those names, and you're going to tell me whether this person should have won the WWE championship or not. Of course, every week we got a slew of trivia, and we're going to have some fun. Just like always, this is 323 episode Pancakes and Power Slam show. Without further ado, let's get right on to it. Evan Tech, proud co-host with the most. How are you tonight, sir?
No under the weather, but of course the show has to go on. Won't miss the show unless I really had to. So it's good to be here. It's been an honor.
As always.
Here live with you.
Yeah.
With the great fans of Wrestling Inc. and everybody else.
Absolutely. 100% agree, man. It's always good to have you on. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's cram this show and let's have some fun. Headlines, here we go. All right, let's start off with a trivia question. Here we go. Who were the members of the Colossal Connection? Who were the members of the Colossal Connection? So, so for the sake of the Pancakes and Power Slam show not having not having a lawsuit on our own hands, let's briefly talk about the CM Punk trial, and let's have a let's share our journalistic and radio personality comments on the goings on of the CM Punk trial. So the trial was determined. It was determined that CM Punk won. He won. He didn't have any type of obligation to pay to Dr. Chris Amon the $1 million plus, of course, like lawyer fees and a bunch of stuff. So he's free and clear of that. So that's what happened. There's a, I have my own take on it, but of course, Pancakes and Power Slams is a pretty popular show that I've heard has been trickling in, and people that are current WWE superstars have listened to it, and so we won't share too much about that as far as personal opinion for the sake of not having a subpoena of our own. So but it was a very interesting thing, and of course you can follow the days on Wrestling Inc. as far as what happened, CM Punk's demeanor, different things he talked about. The biggest thing was just the lump that he was talking about was the golf size. I believe it was on his neck.
Yeah.
That was the big thing. AJ Lee testified. Of course, Colt Cabana was a part of the suit as well, because it stemmed from the doctor feeling that he his reputation was compromised throughout the when they were talking about the podcast, and the podcast was after CM Punk left and quit the WWE. So that's basically what happened. And so, yeah, Evan, feel free to share your very sensitive comments on the topic.
Yeah, you have to be very sensitive because, like you, current WWE superstars have, and you listen to my show as well as yours. I'm just going to say this. It doesn't really affect WWE in no way. It'll affect Dr. Amon. He probably is going to lose his license. Of course, perjury, lying under oath, of course, never does you right. I'll say this. We're normally pretty blunt, definitely me. With the lump on the back of his neck and the story of the Rumble, was it 2014 and 2015 when Batista won it?
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty
14.
much a double-edged sword. Yeah, I think it was when Batista, I think 14 or 15.
14. Was going into WrestleMania 30.
14, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, time flies. It's just going to say both parties could have been at fault. You can see the argument for both. You can see why Punk felt his type of way. You can see why WWE may feel the same. But at the end of the day, it didn't last long. Because lying under oath never helps. Seeing Punk wins, Cook Cabana don't win, they don't have to pay anything. They can live on with their lives. WWE's nowhere near affected by this. And Dr. Amon is the biggest loser, if you will. He'll probably lose his license or his license even revoked. So
we'll see. We'll see.
In that note,
he may lose it. He may not. It's unconfirmed. We don't know. He's still, as of right now, he's still a WWE employee as far as we know. So we don't know that, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with that, and we'll see how far it goes. But CM Punk and Colt Cabana, they both are free and clear of the whole thing, and days before CM Punk is. Days before CM Punk has to go against Mike Jackson. Okay, now the sensitive Y2J is debuting on Impact next month. Breaking news is what Dustin says. Okay, very interesting. There were some things that were talked about with who's the source, Dustin, on that? Unless we. It's after midnight now, but unless we report it here at WrestlingInc.com, or any of the other outlets that I write for, we'll see. I know that Jericho's he's beefing with Callahan. Just kidding, just trolling. It's LJK just trolling. Okay, that's what I thought. Because Jericho's a lifer for the WWE, but he's playing his cards very, very well though. That's what I will certainly give him credit for. I'm a huge fan of that, and so he's really doing a fantastic job that he's doing. So big shout out to Jericho, man. He's doing his thing in Japan. But he's of course you were joking, Dustin, but at the same time he did invite Impact to become to part of his cruise, and that's in October, and he has been going back and forth with Sami Callihan on Twitter. Callahan's like a huge, what's up? He is in my top 5 wrestlers of all time, without a doubt. But sometimes I don't know what the heck is going on with Chris Jericho. I mean, now he's the ultimate heel against Naito. Naito won the Intercontinental Championship a few months back. Lij is so popular that Naito's, you know, doing the um, more of a babyface route because fans love Lij, especially Naito. Jericho comes as like this menacing heel and New Year's Dash and attacks him. He said, "I got a comment says this is the alcohol." That's hilarious. I don't know what's going. See, Naito's one of the most popular names in New Japan, and Jericho goes to New Japan as a big heel, and Sami Callihan is probably the biggest heel in Impact right now, and now he's beefing with Jericho, so that would make Jericho a babyface if he's doing his thing with Impact on the cruise. I don't know what's going on, and Jericho's still a face, technically a face in WWE still because he was feuding with Kevin Owens. That's really the last time we saw him in a major role in WWE, and of course, the last time I think Raw 25, um, he did his thing with Elias. So we'll see. Let's talk about Shawn Michaels real quick. The guy is 52 years old, and he's finally open. I think it was Sky Sports that he had an interview with. Um, we'll see. He's open to one more match. He's been adamant about retiring and staying retired. It's been over 8 years since he's wrestled a match. So we'll see. I mean, he's talked before how three names that he's talked about how he would like to go against if it was like 10 years ago. He put AJ Styles over. Of course, we know that WWE wanted Shawn Michaels versus AJ Styles. Michael said no because he didn't feel as if it would be worth it. Regarding, I agree that one opponent has to be special. I agree with that. So we'll see. He's put Johnny Gargano over. He's a big fan of Gargano because he's doing a lot of he's working. He's working at NXT now as a one of the lead trainers. So, and then the other person he put over, of course, was Daniel Bryan. He helped train Daniel Bryan. So we'll see. I guess my question to you, Evan, is yeah, when he was American Dragon, I guess if it was one more match, and of course, chat line chime in as well. We're already having some people chiming in as far as their thoughts. But if there was one person that only one person, if it was only one more match, of course, we're not going to get the same Shawn Michaels as 8 years ago. He'll be 53 next month. The last time we saw him wrestle, he was 44. So a big difference. We're not going to see maybe a lot of aerial moves. So we'll probably see the elbow drop, but we're not going to see the same Shawn Michaels. So we need that a lot. The only thing is Shawn Michaels' arsenal was a lot different than Taker's. Um, a lot of times Shawn was the person carrying the match. Taker, he has good opponents to work with. And so, you know, Taker wasn't necessarily the person carrying the match. I mean, he was working with really good people and they both were putting their share in the match. I mean, of course, when he was going against people like King Kong Bundy and Giant Gonzalez, of course, he had to, carry those matches. But I mean, throughout Taker's career, he's feuded with Austin, feuded with Angle, feuded with Lesnar, Michaels, Triple H, Bret Hart. So he's feuded with people who could go. Shawn Michaels, Vader can go, but he's not. He wasn't person. People, he wasn't carrying matches. Sid, he's, he's not the best in the ring. So a lot of people who Michaels feuded with throughout his time. Nash is another person who is not the best in the ring. So a lot of people who Michaels feuded with, you know, they, yeah, Tito can go. I think Tito can go. Yeah, so that's why someone like AJ or Seth would be great to carry Shawn through the match. Is a comment. I agree with that a lot. I would love Shawn Michaels and Seth Rollins. I would love that match.
Been in the business for so long, and he's been in the ring with almost everybody. Similar, Michaels is similar to. Well, Flair said this a lot in the interviews, and it's true with Flair. No one will ever have the resume that he's had, Flair's had, because he's wrestled literally just about everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Territories to current, the current now product. Michaels is kind of like that too, AWA, what have you. But I mean, Michaels would be fine. Michaels athletic. Some of Michaels' best work is when he came back in 2002. When he was still aerial, but he still couldn't go like he did at WrestleMania. So if he could go against one more person, I would say it's a toss up. I would say either AJ Styles or either Daniel Bryan. This is one more match, and the match had to be, of course, unsanctioned. That's the loophole. Kind of like when he went against Triple H at Survivor on the SummerSlam, which I thought was one of the great match they had.
Yeah.
I don't worry too much about Michaels. Michaels can still go. Michaels still can take.
Well, we don't know that. It's been 8 years, so I don't know. I mean, he's. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. He's. Here's the thing. We know that Shawn Michaels. We know that Shawn Michaels can go based on his resume, and we don't think that he will be rusty because he's so good in the ring. I think we all can agree with that. So I can see that.
And obviously, according to what Hall, Nash, and Pocket just said maybe a few months ago in some interviews, that Michael still works on. Michael still could go. He just chooses.
Right.
On the ground, I don't know if he's still working on the ring, but my thing is, I would have more faith of Michaels coming back and putting on a 4 to 5 star match than as of Taker. You know what I mean? Like, we were surprised when Taker looked as good as he did.
Right.
Who could you come back and have a 4 to 5 star match? It gotta be Michaels. I mean,
sure. Yeah.
Granted, he's the GOAT to us, but I would even put Michaels over Sting there.
Yeah.
Because Michaels seems like he's in better shape.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
We just had to go by history, but I would say AJ Styles, only because nothing against Bryan. Daniel Bryan would be great, but Daniel Bryan is so small. And not that Michaels never was the biggest guy, but Michaels is in the in-between. Like,
AJ's small too, though. AJ's small.
Yeah, AJ's bigger than Daniel Bryan.
So, probably by a hair. Probably by a hair.
I put it like this. I've seen Daniel Bryan in person. I've ate dinner with AJ before he went to WWE. And going by seeing the people face to face, like in person, like face to face, not on TV. Daniel Bryan is smart. Nothing against Daniel Bryan because I love both of them. I love AJ. I love DB. I just think for the current Michaels, I think AJ, with the way his body structure is, it's not so much about weight, just the way his body build is and his style. I think AJ currently will be the best for Michaels to go against now. Had this been Michaels 8 years ago, or Michaels in his prime, WrestleMania 12 and 14, then I will put Daniel Bryan. Because Daniel Bryan has a lot faster style than AJ Styles.
Yeah.
Like, Daniel Bryan works so fast and quick. It's kind of like how old Mysterio was. You put him against somebody that got to work a smaller style like Michaels. I love Michaels. He's in my top 5. To me, it is, if he goes against Daniel Bryan now, and I love them both, I just think Daniel Bryan, with him moving so fast, will make Michael seem like an older man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. But it's tough with it's tough with AJ too, because AJ's style is very fast paced as well. Here's my thought. I think Seth Rollins is the best I think he's the hottest name in all of WWE right now, hands down. And I think Seth Rollins would be a fantastic match, but I think this is one of the dream matches. This is one of the times where a dream match could actually still possibly happen. Now, I had one of my dream matches was Taker versus Andre, and that never happened. Or was it possible to happen because Andre passed, and then you had Sting and Taker, which wasn't another one that wasn't really possible after maybe a year or two ago, because it just got to the point where it just Sting retired and Taker was out of shape. Now he's in much better shape, but it's still kind of, I think the train has passed on that one. But another dream match has also been Shawn Michaels versus The Rock. Now they never crossed paths during their time in WWE. They've never crossed paths, and I thought that was very interesting. Yeah, I mean he did that. When him and Triple H during the match was him and Triple H, but that is funny because that never ended. That never resulted into a match at all. So they never. I mean, I always found that very, very interesting. And I think that Shawn Michaels versus The Rock, because it doesn't have to be unnecessary. It doesn't necessarily key of Shawn Michaels versus The Rock would be people care much more about that than anything that happens in the ring. So I think that if you do, I think that The Rock is a good enough pace for Shawn Michaels that Shawn doesn't have to feel like he has to keep up, because with Seth he has to keep up, with AJ he has to keep up, with Daniel Bryan he has to keep up. Someone said, "Don't give Big Cass any ideas." I think that's hilarious. But with those three names, he would have to keep up at this point of time. Now, do I think that he'd be able to? Yeah, but someone like The Rock, I think will. I think that they will go within the same pace, and it wouldn't be like catch up with each other.
I just started using that with Michaels and The Rock, and people wonder, oh, about Rock. And it's one of the legit moments where legitimately they have never wrestled.
Yeah.
Sting and Taker technically did wrestle.
Right.
Not WCW.
WCW, yeah. Me, Mark Callis.
Never wrestled.
Yeah.
At all.
Yep.
And it's not like WWE's trying to hide it or just a match that happens.
It just never happened. Yeah.
And inside news is that basically it never happened. The Rock never, and The Rock has said this years ago, The Rock never expressed interest in working with Michaels. And inside people were saying that, let's just say, Michaels in his early years with him, when he wasn't for the Lord, didn't really take kind to some of The Rock's family members back in the day.
Right. Yeah.
He might have said something that was wrong or something that happened, and I think that's why The Rock never had an interest. But like you said, I mean, hey, The Rock against Michaels WrestleMania that would be amazing. The Heartbreak Kid, the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. The Rock is, hopefully he doesn't get injured because he's like gained 200 pounds of muscle.
Right.
But that by itself would be great.
Yeah. Man, just think about that. Just think about if you.
Got to see Orton and The Rock. That's something else too.
Rock and Orton.
Wrestlers.
Yeah.
Two of the best third generation wrestlers of all time.
Yep.
We saw The Rock against Randy Orton.
Just think about WrestleMania 30 or 35. 35 is a it's a standout. It's a monumental milestone number. So the 35th anniversary of WrestleMania. Just think about it. You've got Goldberg versus Roman Reigns. You've got Shawn Michaels versus The Rock, and they'll probably do something like I wouldn't mind if Lesnar stays. If Lesnar stays, I would do a Braun versus Lesnar, And then of course Triple H would want to go in there somehow, and Triple H would I'm sure he'd probably go against somebody. It has the potential to be a very, very good match. I think a Showboat Sean versus Rock would be great. Maybe with Triple H in his corner to add to that spark.
No.
You
don't need no Triple H. You just need Rock.
Look.
Not to disparage the fans saying I'm not being mean. You don't need an extra. Shawn Michaels and The Rock shows by
it does. It does.
Triple H's entrance itself is 30 minutes and takes up half the budget.
Right. Blaster is saying Triple H versus Batista. I'll be fine with that. I'll be cool with that. Batista's been wanting to go against Triple H for a while too. So yeah, I'll be fine with Triple H versus. Yeah, it'll be a slow match, but
the world's slowest. No, they're pretty much still in good shape. But the slowest match would be Hogan against Stone Cold. Hogan go against Stone Cold. Oh man.
I don't want to see it. I don't want to see. Yeah, I don't want to see Hogan in the ring again.
Real quick, what would you rather see? Would you rather see Taker against Sting, which I still think can be a decent, good match? Or would you rather see Hogan against Stone Cold? I think you take Taker versus Sting. At least they can move and run.
Is neither an option?
I mean, Sting can run. He's still athletic. Taker still can run. We saw Taker.
I don't want to see it, man. Here's the thing, Evan. Here's the thing. If because of Sting's WWE resume, I totally don't want to see it now. Like if Sting would have defeated Triple H at 32, or was it 32 that they went against each other? 31, yeah, in Santa Clara. 31. Because 32 was Dallas, Triple H and Reigns. So if Sting would have beat Triple H at 31, I would be more open to Sting versus Taker. But WWE has booked Sting so horribly that I don't want to see Sting lose another match, because the only match that Sting won was against the Big Show on Raw, so it's like, so it was. I don't want to see they've booked him so terribly. So what he technically has a 50-50. He has a 500 record because he beat Big Show and then they changed it to the tag match and they won the tag, and then he lost to Triple H and Seth Rollins. So yeah, someone's saying Sting will never wrestle again. If I had my way, I would have Sting come back one more time and redeem himself, because every Sting video WWE related, there's not that redeeming, because like Goldberg had the perfect story. Even though he lost against Lesnar, it was still totally fine because beat him in 90 seconds, beat Owens, bookended it by having a really good match against Lesnar, which he lost, which was totally fine because he was still protected. It was still a really good match. So someone saying Sting is 60 years old, he's done. Well, if he can still go and he's only wrestling one time a year, it's not Sting. It's not an age thing for me as far as Sting, because, if you're like Vern Gagne, you know what I mean? So, yeah, but that's a whole different thing. I mean, Edie he needs a check, unfortunately. Sting turns 60 March of next year. So GHP is saying, I agree, it's the appearance. Sting and Taker are very similar. He's 80 years old, but it's still that appearance that makes him still he's timeless. Like They have like evergreen um, gimmicks because they have because Sting has the paint, Taker has the darkness type of feel, the long hair, minus the years he came out as Uncle Fester. But the thing is they have like evergreen gimmicks. But I just wish that they would do something with Sting. Sting said it. Sting, he said it before. He said he's in shape to go. Like if he wanted to wrestle now, he could, but he just don't want to. Which, I mean, he's 59 years old. I can't, you know, I can't hate him. I can't hate on him for it, but I just can't stand how WWE booked Sting. And he's the GOAT to me. And for them to book him like they did, see, I didn't even have an issue with him putting over Rollins. And I think it would have been even better if he would have actually beat Triple H. It would have been even better when he put over Rollins because it's like technically, you know, he's the GOAT to me, but it's like, yeah, you don't even deserve a title shot, Sting. Just because you came out doesn't mean that you can get a title shot because you lost against Triple H. But yeah, sad for Sting's WWE career. We'll see. Next trivia question: who did Carlito defeat to win the U.S. title in 2004? Who did Carlito defeat to win the U.S. title in 2004? All right, let's plow through. Nope, not Flair. Not Flair. Flair's never had the U.S. title in WWE. He's had the U.S. title while he was in NWA and NWA WCW. It's funny because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Flair, y'all can check on this for me. Oh, good job, Dustin. John Cena. Um, check on this for me, chat room. I think Bash at the Beach 96, if I'm not mistaken, this is my I've been called the Wrestling Inc. historian. So out of the Wrestling Inc. podcast staff, everybody has their own gimmick, and people call me the historian. I've been called the encyclopedia by my friends as well. So let me see if I can remember this. Speaking of U.S. title, if I'm not mistaken, Flair beat Conan in 90 Bash of the Beach 96, the same pay-per-view that Hogan turned. So I need the chat room's confirmation on that. But if I'm not mistaken, Bash at the Beach 1996, Ric Flair beat Conan to win the U.S. title. I mean, of course, he had the U.S. title, times in the NWA, but he had. Oh, thank you, Mo. Thank you, Brandon. Yes, Bash at the Beach 96. Yes. Yep. Checked wiki. Good. Awesome. All right. That's good stuff.
If you want a more memorable match for the U.S. title, in the chat room will thank me later for this. You get a chance. Watch Conan versus One Man Gang.
Yeah, Conan is. Yep. So Ric Flair with Miss Elizabeth and Woman defeated Conan to win the U.S. title. All right, here's another trivia question for the chat room. Who were the members of the U.S. Express in the WWE? Who were the members of the U.S. Express? All right, so the next headline: Steve Austin, Stone Cold. Very interesting thing he said about on his recent podcast. One of his recent podcasts, he was talking about the what chant. Mike and Barry. Yes, Mike and Barry who though? Mike and Barry who? Yes, Barry, Mike, Rotunda. Okay. Close enough. Barry Windham, yes. There you go. Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda. Rotunda or Rotundo, they were calling him back then. Rotundo. We'll see. All right, so Steve Austin, he was talking about the what chant, and he was talking about how like it could be a problem to the current, the current uh, roster, the current roster, WWE roster. Um, I'm gonna try to pull up his comments. I don't remember exactly what it was. I wrote the article, and he said something in particular that was really cool. And he was, I mean, he was talking about how he loves the fact that um the what chants still, are alive and well nowadays. But he was talking about how people just kind of take it too far and they don't know when to do it nowadays. He said, let me quote, he said, I never knew the what chant would stick around as long as it stuck around. But he said it can really mess with the guys or girls' rhythm, what they are really trying to say. Sometimes they can get flustered. Sometimes the what chant can really be overwhelming, and you think people aren't paying attention to what you're saying. And sometimes when a really strong, heartfelt promo is happening, they'll start with the what chants. The audience is missing out on what the wrestler's saying. So sometimes you gotta time that what chant when there's some BS going on, and you got to be able to listen to a real deal promo, so you know what's going on in the story. I feel for you, and I feel for when they're trying to cut a good promo and it interrupts your rhythm, plain and simple. I mean, that's just spot on. Spot on. I think, the problem what I have with the what chant now back then, I loved it. There's some people said I didn't like it back then, but I loved the what chant back then. I was a huge fan of it.
Great.
But nowadays, you deal with a very difficult crowd. A lot of pro wrestling fans nowadays, and someone said this, I forgot who it was. It was maybe Jericho. I forgot who it was, but it was someone really, it was like a big name. I forgot who it was though. But they were talking about how maybe JR, and this is spot on too. I've had him on my show. I've talked to Bischoff a bunch of times. And he was talking about how a lot of a lot of fans nowadays, they they kind of they kind of show they kind of express themselves as wrestling fans because deep down inside they've got some other issues going on, and they disguise it they disguise it with being wrestling fans. And listen, I'm about to become a doctor in psychology, and that makes so much sense to me because especially with Raw yesterday, with Raw went Monday night in Houston. I thought it was hilarious. Roman Reigns, and we'll talk about Raw in a little bit. Roman Reigns comes out and he gets a bunch of cheers, the biggest cheers Roman Reigns has gotten in years. And so gets a bunch of cheers, and then Houston's like, "Oh, wait a minute, wait, boo, boo," and I thought that was hilarious because it's like, oh, listen, you forgot that you were supposed to boo Roman Reigns because you don't have a reason why you want to boo him. You just want to get yourselves over and just boo him. And yeah, Roman Reigns. Oh, wait a minute, boo. And that's how a lot of the modern day crowd is, and they just want to get themselves over. And I think the what chant is just like that. There's some promos that I really want to hear that it really has an opportunity to get someone over. It's a great comment. I almost thought Roman was from Houston. That's yes. You know what? You get a ding for that. That was actually you get applause for that. You get applause for that. Fantastic comment. I almost thought Roman was from Houston. He did get received like a hometown boy, that's for sure. Um I agree with that. My fan side takes over, even though I think like a writer or creator in today's wrestling world. Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting because that's how the what chant is nowadays. It's like, you know, people just want to say what. They're probably not even caring. They're probably not even investing in what the person is saying. They just want to do it, and that's what's make that to me. That's what makes it annoying to me. More like before, yeah, because beforehand it was like the what chant went with just the cadence of the interview, and it was fun and it made sense. Now people are like trying, they're like playing double dutch with what chants. Like they're trying to, like, as soon as someone stops, they're like trying to say what, but they're not even paying attention to the interview. They're like, what, and it just doesn't make sense at all. So I agree with Austin. It was a great chant while it lasted, but nowadays it doesn't go with today's crowd. SmackDown staying live. Of course, they are moving to Fox on next fall, starting in October of 2019, so the fall after next. Um, and there was some speculation on whether they will go live or go taped. So very interesting there. Reportedly, I think the Wrap is what broke the news. They said that SmackDown is staying live on Friday, so that does affect the scheduling with the WWE, because usually SmackDown is their schedule is from, so they work, so usually wrestlers work 4 days on, 3 days off. So I believe SmackDown's schedule is Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Raw's is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And so since SmackDown's going to be live, they usually book like different cities based on that type of fluid schedule. So, I mean, here's the thing. I'm sure WWE in their mind, they're like, well, we're going to work it out regardless, because it's a over $1 billion deal they made with Fox. So I think probably now it would be a matter of Friday, you got the live show, and Tuesdays will probably have to be, they would have to do the house show now, because Tuesdays was, I mean, since '99, Tuesdays were taped SmackDown, and then of course you had those few years in between where they did ECW after SmackDown from 10 to 11. So ECW would be live from 10 to 11 because they would do it after SmackDown. So and then of course you have the other thing, which, the Hall of Fame is on Friday nights. So I suppose, Evan and I will be going to WrestleMania next year as well in New York. And so, I this year and last year I got there on Thursday. I don't know if I'm gonna. I may have to come on Wednesday, but I think yeah, it's gonna affect the indies though, because the indie shows, they're not gonna want to do anything on Thursday night or even really Friday night. It's really interesting because there's not going to be too much. You don't, of course, you want to book your shows around WWE. So if WWE has the Hall of Fame on Thursdays, because they would have to move it up a day, I'm sure they wouldn't want to go. They wouldn't want to go head to head with their own show. They wouldn't want to do Hall of Fame and then a live SmackDown. That wouldn't make sense. So you would move the Hall of Fame to Thursdays. So yeah, it's really interesting, because I think I mean, like, a lot of people come Thursday anyways, because a lot of the indie shows start Thursday. I went to Wale Mania this year and last year. I did some coverage both years. I covered the Mark Henry interview live through Wrestling Inc. This year. So that's probably going to go on. I've had Court Bauer on my show before. I might need to see how, contact him to see how that's going to affect, Wale Mania. But, there's going to have to be some type of scheduling through that, because SmackDown is going to be live on Fridays. So it makes sense for either TakeOver or the Hall of Fame to go on Thursdays. I think most likely it'll be the Hall of Fame. The TakeOver probably. I think TakeOver stay on Saturdays. I think TakeOver stay on Saturdays because it's going to be that whole day before the main event. I think the Hall of.
Who's to say they might move? They may not for that week only move Smack. This is my thing. What you saying could work, or for that 1 week only, move SmackDown to Tuesday live because you got to think all of that promotion, all of that press work everybody has to do, and that way you can still keep your regular schedule where TakeOver Saturday, the Hall of Fame is Friday, WrestleMania of course is all day Sunday. Move SmackDown to Tuesdays the only night, for only that 1 week, and then everybody could, pretty much take care of the rest of the week of how they usually do it.
Yeah, but here's the problem. Here's the problem with that though. They're working with Fox's schedule now. So, doing the whole Tuesday thing, they don't have as much, as far as I know, they don't have as much type of wiggle room with Fox as they do with, with USA. So, so yeah, that Friday slot is what Fox wants to have. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I think it'll be very interesting to see how. I mean, we won't have to see this until. Well, it's interesting because it won't be until WrestleMania 36, really, because it doesn't be implemented until October of 19. So we won't have to see this until to WrestleMania 36. So if they tape it on Tuesday, I might as well cut my phone off until Friday. Yeah, that's very interesting. We'll see. All right, so next headline before we get into Raw and SmackDown real quick. The Booker Man, he believes that CM Punk will return to pro wrestling if he loses at UFC 225. So at the end of the show, we'll predict whether CM Punk will win or lose, and then we'll also predict Dominion. But we're not going to spoil it. But your comments and also the comment, Evan, your thoughts. Will we ever see CM Punk back in the WWE or just wrestling period?
We'll see him back in wrestling. He'll come back to WWE. Everybody comes back home again. I'll never come back. Come on, man. Everybody comes back. It's nothing to do with Vince or just everyone does. Now, and as I said this on my show earlier today, and I said it multiple times, and you even said this privately. If Bret's Hart, the man's brother, was killed, lost his life on a live pay-per-view, and all the shenanigans Bret dealt with Vince, and all the back and forth, he did. Bret came back. Warrior came back. Bruno came back. Cornette came back. Even if it was just for the Hall of Fame. Even some stuff behind the scenes.
Warrior.
Bruce Pritchard came back. Everybody has came back at some point, and under circumstances way beyond just CM Punk. Austin came back. Way beyond CM Punk just being upset and not happy, and he decided to quit. So you have all these other legends and former WWE workers that came back under more extreme circumstances. And if anybody wanted to hold a grudge or decided not to ever come back, would be Bret. And Bret could come back. At the time it was all wounds, and Punk could come back. Punk will be back. What else is he going to do? He's going to fight in UFC. He's probably gonna get knocked out in the first round. He probably will show up at All In. He's a little bit wrestling again. At some point, you gotta know where your bread is buttered.
Brandon saying,
nothing against Punk, but just going by, and then I've interviewed and talked to, good friends with Ken Shamrock. I've talked to Dan Severn, Bez Rutten. Punk is not fit to be a UFC fighter. He's known to be a pro wrestler.
So, yeah, it's funny because Joe Rogan said the same thing.
Yeah. Chicago, you're always gonna be there. Do a little indie tour, and at the end of the day, when the dust settles, you make the biggest payday you ever gonna make. Come back to WWE, feud with Vince for you.
Well, here's here's the thing. I think Vince will be willing to bring him back. Triple H, as far as I know, Triple H is the one that doesn't really want to touch him with a 20-foot pole. Vince sees money in him, and he would get a big ovation. But here's my thoughts on it. I think the person who would be the ultimate reason why he does not come back would be CM Punk, because it just seems like Punk would be the one who would hold a grudge. It seemed like Punk would be the one who would say, I walked out of WWE and I don't care. I'm never going to come back, even if they give him, a very good contract. I just don't see CM Punk, with his the way that he acts. I don't see him being the one that says, okay, I'll go ahead and do it. And, I just don't see that. Even if Vince and Triple H says, okay, let's bury the hatchet, I don't see CM Punk being the guy who says, okay, let's just let bygones be bygones. And I don't see that happen.
That's a good point. You're right. Because I was going to say, Vince won't mind it. Triple H says no, but it means it's Vince's baby. And another thing we also got to remember too, Matt Hardy, the leader of Wells. Matt Hardy came back. Vince saw money with Matt Hardy and Edge. Do that legit feud where Edge cheated on, Lita cheated on Edge, cheated on
Matt Hardy, yep.
Doing the whole turmoil, he made money, and that was sticky. And, at the end of the day, none of them were fun. But like you said, Punk would be Punk. Punk probably would have set out, but I mean, come on, we've all seen it, man. We talked to the guys off air. We've had them on. We've heard the interviews with Brad, blah blah blah. He came back, and we've seen it with Brio, and after a while, the saying is right. Time does heal all wounds. It's still fresh. Do we really miss Punk?
I don't.
We don't.
I don't for sure. People, it's gotten to the point where people actually boo the CM Punk chants nowadays. Now, before it was like a big deal. It was a big deal when people would chant CM Punk. But now you have a small corner who chants CM Punk, who usually immediately get booed by other people. So that's basically the reputation that CM Punk has now.
Kevin Federline come back from revenge against John Cena than to see him come back.
I would too.
I never thought Punk was. I'm not taking away from that. I never thought Punk was all an edge.
Punk a bunch of times on that. So yeah.
The stuff he did with RH work, okay, great stuff. WWE, granted, he did go against the grain. He did fight for being different. I'm for all of that. But and then, of course, I have a little bias because Kenta has always been one of my favorite Japanese wrestlers. And you got all of these kids, they go to sleep and say, Punk. No, it's not. It's not his move.
It's Kenta. Yep. And he has, and CM Punk has probably the worst elbow drop in the business. So, every time I see CM Punk's elbow drop, I apologize to the grave of Randy Savage because it looks really bad. Next trivia question.
from Hexar Jim Duggan.
I'm okay with the I'm okay with the Oh Glory knee drop. Just that, you know, because he's not mocking anyone. I mean, not he's not mocking. He's not trying to, you know what I'm saying. He's not trying to kind of, you know, channel anyone. Punk tries to channel Savage, and it's terrible. Who was the self-professed Canada's greatest athlete? Who was the self-professed Canada's greatest athlete? Go ahead, Evan.
Here's the thing. Would you rather see, and this could be a panel question to the chat line, the ugliest homage move? Would you rather CM Punk's ugly elbow, or would you rather the atrocity or the Rock sharpshooter that he never
correctly? Goodness.
What would you pick?
Yuck.
And you know me, things that go now, and I'm a good fan of Bret Hart. I got to pick. I'd rather see Punk's elbow drop because I the Rock sharpshooter.
I say neither. I say both of them get one of these. Both. Neither. Iron Mike Sharp. Good job, Brandon. Good job, Dustin. Good job, Mo. Great stuff.
What do you say?
Iron Mike Sharp is the correct answer. All right, so let's get into the Raw and SmackDown review. We'll be right back in a few. All right, real quick, give me your Raw and SmackDown thoughts.
Seth Rollins, the hottest thing on WWE right now. Team B, the B-list team, or the Team B, whatever you call them. I think that's pretty hilarious. Hopefully that goes well for him. Bobby Lashley, the world of purgatory Lashley is so lost. Like he's just wandering through the wilderness. I feel sorry for him. The main event was good. You know, good to see Kevin Owens. Triple H, John Cena. Raw, it's different. Raw is slow down. You don't see the same people in the main event, and you get to see a lot of the younger generation, these newer, the newer athletes, the Kevin Owens and the Finn Balor's and all of them main event Raw. I don't get to see briefcases. They're showing there on each show, which I really don't get. Throws me off, but I thought it was a good main event. Enjoyed Balor against Owens. Him doing Finn Balor in that move just doesn't. I like Finn Balor, but that finishing move just doesn't. It works for him, but it's just not believable to me. I'm glad that he did it. He was able to pull it off without anything. He couldn't lift his hands up, but he still did little things in the keys to his music. I really enjoyed. Charlotte tapping out on SmackDown. Wow. Becky Lynch for a while. The Cash with his segment, the mixtape. I thought SmackDown was okay. I enjoyed Raw a little bit better than SmackDown this week. The contract was decent. Nakamura, last man spent. Come on, I love AJ, but this is starting to feel like Rock vs. Triple H, 97 and 98, where he literally wrestled on every single pay-per-view for them 2 years. And I love AJ Nakamura, and I love to see, but at some point, we got to get Is it me or am I forgetting that AJ Styles is the champion?
Yeah, we've talked about that. Yeah, for sure. All right. So yeah. Yeah, the Constable Corbin. Yeah, I like that role with him actually. I thought SmackDown was head and shoulders better than Raw. Raw was it was exhausting to me. It just really was it really drained. It was just it was rough. I really like Elias and Seth. I love that feud. It's one of those rare occasions where like both of them really elevate each other, and either one of them having the championship works. So I think that will. And we talked about Reigns getting a bunch of pops. I think that was hilarious. James Harden,
Yeah.
that was hilarious. I thought that Kurt Hawkins was, for a moment, I thought that he was going to win, and because there were 199 losses, and then Corbin comes in, and it's so sad, man, because I'm like, it's so sad. Someone's talking about Natalia's injury. As soon as I saw that, I said, okay, this is what's going to happen. Natalia's feigning the injury. She's going to turn against Rousey at Money in the Bank. That's the first thing that I thought about. Um, those tacos. I mean, man. I mean, why waste some good tacos? I mean, so shame on you, Baron Corbin, for that. Um, Strowman and Rude. I can definitely see Rude doing more of the heel thing and feeling comfortable with it.
Yeah.
I can definitely see Rude turning heel soon. Surprised me that the B team won the battle royal. It didn't make sense that Drew and Dolph Ziggler was in it, but they try to protect him a little bit when they start beating up people afterwards. So I guess that's a way to atone for it. But you know, I mean, here's the thing. I really like Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy, the leader of worlds. I really like that team. Like I said before, Matt Hardy, Woken Matt Hardy is probably the best gimmick he's ever. Well, Broken is the best gimmick he's ever had, but this is a extension of it. And then Bray was supposed, he was a drag while he was a heel. It was long overdue for him to turn face, and I think this is a good spot for him too, to turn face. So I like it. So we'll see. I think the B team won just for them to lose. I really hope they don't win the tag team titles. That would just bring it down so much. No, I don't. I hope that don't happen. So yeah. So the reversing the decision with Bailey, and I mean, what the heck is Bailey doing these days? I mean, it makes no sense of what she's doing. It's so sad. I don't know, and I really like the also formerly known as a video series that they're doing. Bailey's was awesome. Seth Rollins was awesome. I haven't watched Luke Harper's yet, but I'm sure that I watched probably the first few seconds of it. Then I had to do something. So I'm looking forward to see that. I really, really like those series, but I mean, it just made sense with Bailey, but now it's like, whoa, what are they doing? So yeah, it was a drag to me. Balor and Owens, just the ladders and that went too far. That was a drag. I mean, just that 2 hour format with SmackDown it just makes things a lot better. It makes it more digestible. Carmella, to me, it's like she's starting to lose steam as a heel. Like she gets a lot of heat and I really like it, but I'm starting to get tired of Carmella already. So, but but
it seems like with the women's division, it's like you even like you're super hot on fire, or you just like stick stone cold, literally.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like with Asuka, to me, I'm like I don't want her to win it at Money in the Bank because that's more of a minor. I mean, they're trying to make it like a bigger type of pay per view, but winning it at Money in the Bank to me, like it makes more sense for her to win like a SummerSlam or something like their Survivor Series, but having this undefeated streak and losing at Mania and winning at somewhere like Money in the Bank, just odd to me. So we'll see on that. Glad that Carl Anderson beat Luke Harper, but they're going to get. I mean, they're going to get like just ran over. So I like the mixed tag match. That was cool. The contract signing reminded me of Hogan versus Andre with President Jack Tunney. Um, but it ran a little too long. And then the 6-man tag was fantastic, and they protected everybody that had the heels go turn against the Miz But yeah, it was good. SmackDown was a good show, so good stuff. All right, real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a lot of interaction from the chat room, and for this flavor of the week this week. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's do it.
It is now time for the flavor of the week.
Got a comment saying that Becky looked like she was going swimming. That was funny. All right, next trivia question. Who did Gilbert defeat to win the light heavyweight championship? Who did Gilbert defeat to win the light heavyweight championship? All right, so I got a list of names for the chat room, and you're just going to simply tell me this week's flavor of the week is I got a list of names, and you're going to tell me nope. Gilbert did not beat Taka Michinoku. All right, so good job, Tristan. Christian is the correct answer. Good stuff. All right, so I'm gonna give you a name, and you're gonna tell me just real quick. Should this person have been WWE champion through any time in their career? Let's start. The first one is Hercules. Should Hercules have been WWE champ?
No.
I agree. I'm gonna say no. I really liked Hercules. I think they could have built him to be championship material, but I think that they, based on their booking, we're getting some no's here in the chat room as well. I think he was. I think he was probably the most underutilized person in one of the most underutilized talents in WWE. Period. So. Next one, Earthquake. Should Earthquake have been? Yeah, good job. I agree with that. He would have been a good Intercontinental champ. Hercules. I agree with that. Earthquake.
Earthquake. No.
I agree. I'll say no for Earthquake. I think the tag champion was someone saying yeah, of course. Interesting. I think the tag champ with Typhoon was good for him. Yeah. Getting no. Earthquake was a good heel. Another comment. I'm gonna say no with Earthquake too. Yeah. Earthquake with the proper momentum could have been an IC champ, maybe dethroned Warrior, no WWF title. Good tag team, not single champ. I agree with those comments. I agree with those. Next one, Razor Ramon. Razor Ramon. What do you say, Evan?
No, he didn't need it. No, Scott Hall didn't need it. He was a great IC. I say no. Scott Hall, he was just that so charismatic. He just didn't need the title.
See, I say no. I say 100% yes, because it's hard for me to go. I mean, I've heard that a lot with good characters, but it's hard for me to just be okay with that. People like a DiBiase or Jake Roberts, their character transcended, titles, but I don't think that's fair for them. You know, like they're so good, they deserve to be a world champion. Round. Oh, real quick. See. 100%. He had been a nice heel champ. I think Razor was better as a babyface though. Obviously, yes. Someone says Razor had the build. He was a good heel. I'm still waiting to this day for Razor to be world champ. That's a great comment. Bad News Brown.
Yes. Yes. Bad News was. It's twofold. I feel like he should have been. And we still have yet to have a black WWE champion. And please do not give me that crap about The Rock. Please start with that.
The Rock.
His Featherstone dog will go off very quickly. I think he should have. But I just think he just was at the wrong time.
Well, that's the funny part of it, because he left the WWE because from old stuff, from what I've heard before, is that Vince promised him a huge push and that never happened, and so he left WWE. So that's interesting. He feuded with Hogan, he feuded with Piper, feuded with. I mean, he feuded mostly in the mid card with Brett and Piper when they were in the mid card, but when he had he feuded with Hogan for a hot second, and I think Bad News Brown would have been a good champion for sure. Bad News Brown never needed title. See, I don't agree with that. I don't agree to say that a person does not need a title. I do not agree with that at all. I will never agree with that, because the pinnacle of a professional wrestler is to become a world champion. It wouldn't make sense for me to say, you know what, I want to become a professional wrestler to have a really good character to get me into the Hall of Fame. No, I want to become a world. I want to become a world champ. That's the reason why I want to become a.
You mean you won't want to be a Coco Beware?
Absolutely not. They weren't even good characters. They were mediocre characters. I mean, I like Coco was a big draw back in the day, but so all right. So I think mostly I think it would have been a nice champ. All right, next is Ted DiBiase.
Yes,
I agree, hands down. I mean, I don't think there's any type of I don't think there's any argument to that as far as Ted DiBiase. We're getting some yes, we're getting some resounding yeses in the chat room. Yeah. Big Boss Man is next.
Nah. I think even though he was more athletic than Avalanche, and then I love Boss Man or Big Bubber from the 80s, and or John Tenta, Guardian Angel. I'm sorry, not John Tenta. I say no. But you know what? No, I take it back. Yes, when Boss Man when he was at his prime, when he was a face for Hogan, Boss Man would have been a good champ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think he should have been champ too.
People forget how quick he was a great face and how he was a heel. He beat Hogan early one year. The next thing you know, he tagged with him.
Yep. We need a security champion. Is what Mo says. Hilarious. The blue suit Boss Man could have. Yep. Interesting note here. Comment on DiBiase. DiBiase should have held the title after Andre gave it to him. I agree with that. I totally agree with that, actually, because a Crush. What do you think about Crush?
No.
When I get that, I crush things.
Crush. Apocalypse Crush. Prisoner Crush with their Dawn tattoo on his forehead.
No Kona Crush. No heel turn. Feuding with Savage Kona Crush. The purple and the purple, black, and silver.
The lacerated tongue.
Yeah. I agree. No for me too. I say no for Crush. Getting no's in the chat room as well. Yeah. All right, real quick. Next one is Jimmy Snuka.
Yes.
What do you think, chat room? I say yes, 100% yes. I think there's no debate. The fact that he didn't even get a title in the WWE. That's crazy to me.
Wow. I didn't
Yeah,
think about that. You're right.
never won. Snuka never won a title in WWE. If anything, it would make sense if he would have had a mid card title. I mean, he's feuding with Morocco, but never won a title. So he won the ECW championship, I believe, when it was still Eastern Championship Wrestling. But
Them videos.
but yeah, I mean, he never won. Let me make sure, but never won. Yeah, Brandon saying that's outrageous. I agree. Never won. All right, so let me see. Let me just make sure. There's one some in All Japan, Catch, AWA, Continental, Mid Atlantic, U.S. title. I mean, yeah, I remember he won the U.S. title. WWE Hall of Fame class of '96. That's it. Zero championships. All right. Two more. Roddy Piper. Roddy Piper.
Of course. Even though Piper transcended it, why not? Piper's still one of the best heels.
Yeah.
Of all time.
Absolutely.
He was a good baby face, but he bad as a heel.
I think he was good at both. That's what was so good about Piper. He was really good at both. I agree. I think Piper should have been champ without a doubt.
Would you give him Piper the champion? Because let's not forget the match of the century. Hogan and Piper starting 96.
I wish they would have given him the WCW title at that time. But even for WWE, I agree. I think that he should have won. I was glad that they gave him the Intercontinental championship. But I think he would have been a good world champion, even if it was transitional. I think it would have been good. All right, last one. The Mountie.
No.
I agree. He's a good mid card talent for a little bit, but I don't think he was a good world champ. If
Rick Martel should have been champ.
All right, so we did 10 today, and we'll see. We'll have some people tweet at Crave Wrestling. All right, so real quick, do you think CM Punk will? All right, I agree as well. Who's winning between Jericho and Naito?
60 seconds.
Who? All right, we gotta go. I can't hear you. Jericho and Naito, your thoughts? Okay, yeah, I think Naito's gonna win. Who's gonna win between Okada and Omega? Best 2 out of 3.
Okada will win, and the match will be about an hour and a half long.
I think Omega's gonna take this one. I wish Okada, but I think Omega's gonna take it. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're running out of time. Thank you so much, Dominion. I will be on the Wrestling Inc. podcast after Dominion and UFC, so check that out. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, 323 episodes in the books. Forever and Tech Proud. I'm Chris Featherstone. Thank you so much for your wonderful, wonderful, wonderful support. Until next week, always remember, enjoy your week of wrestling. God bless, and I'll do it for you. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen. God bless. Bye-bye.